You know how to use if statements and conditions to determine what code gets run. But what if you need to decide what code gets run based on more than one condition? Let's say you are creating a car emulator and you only want your car to drive if there is at least one person in the car and if the car has more than 5 gallons of gas. Well, to do this, you would have to test more than one condition at the same time, and you don't know how to do that yet in C. But just as you learned about the mathematical operators and the comparison operators, there is another kind of operator called a logical operator. And this is used for conditions for if statements and else if statements and loops like the while loop. And it will let you determine which code to run based on more than one condition at a time. The three operators that we will be talking about this time are the AND operator, the OR operator, and the NOT operator. We'll start with the AND operator because this is what we're going to need for our program. Okay, so this program we need to know how many people are in the car and how many gallons of gas the car has. So we're going to create two variables, both of which will be integer variables. And I'm going to name mine people and gallons. So integer people equals, let's just say there's two people in the car right now, and we have 15 gallons of gas. So as you know, this car should run. So we're going to write our if statement next. If people is greater than or equal to one person, we need a minimum of one person. If there's 0 people in the car, we obviously can't drive it. That only makes sense. And now, though, we need to say if people is greater than or equal to 1 and the gallons is equal to or greater than 5, we can drive the car. Now, how do we add that in this line here? Well, there's an operator, as we said, for and we write that out with two and signs, ampersands. And then we simply put the next condition that we want. And gallons is greater than or equal to 5. And now we put our code inside of the braces just as we did before. We're going to print out, you can drive your car. Alright, let's run this and see if the car will actually drive. You can drive your car. Alright, well what if one of them doesn't work? Let's say we have 0 people in the car. Nope, we cannot drive our car, apparently. So, this is how the AND operator works. The AND operator will give a value of true, or 1, if and only if the expression on the left and the expression on the right evaluate to true. If one of them is false, the entire expression will evaluate to false. If both of them are false, it will still evaluate to false. The only way that it will evaluate to true is if both of them evaluate to true. So we can also add an else if statement to figure out exactly what went wrong, if it went wrong at all. So else if people is less than 1, we can say that looks like a good error message. And we can also have another else if. And this one, gallons less than 5. We'll say that the car doesn't have enough gas. And we'll rerun this program and see if it prints out the correct error message. You can't drive a car without a person in it. Well, that's the right error message. If both of them don't work, of course, it's still going to stop at this one. Alright, so that's the AND operator, but there's also an OR operator, and you can probably guess what that one will do. The OR operator will evaluate to true if either left or right or both evaluate to true. So if we change this to the OR operator, which is two pipes, and the pipe character can be typed by holding down Shift while hitting the backslash on your keyboard. Now this will evaluate to true if either of these ones are true. So even though we have no people in our car, this one should still tell us that we can drive our car because we do have enough gallons of gas in the car. You can drive your car. The only way this will evaluate to false is if they're both false. So if we have 4 gallons of gas, we should not be able to drive our car. Alright, so that is the AND and the OR operators and how you use them. It's also important to note that you can use more than 2 things at a time. For example, I could have a third possibility. So on this, if I were to do this, have a third condition, that's not a real condition though. If I were to have a third condition, they would all 3 have to be true for this code to get run. And the same with the OR operators. Now there's one more operator which is called the logical NOT operator. And this operator is the exclamation point. And this one will reverse the truth of any expression that is after it. So exclamation point 0 would be true, exclamation point 1 would be false. So if you ever need to run some code, if something is not true, you can use the logical NOT operator. So if we wanted to write this the reverse way, we would say if people less than 1, and we're going to need to put this in parentheses because of operator precedence, which I will talk about in one moment. And we do the same for the other one, put it in parentheses, less than 5. So what this is going to do is it's going to ask people less than 1, and right now it's going to say that's true because 0 is less than 1. And then this is going to reverse that. It's going to take the 0 and it's going to say that it is equal to 1. And this one is going to take gallons less than 5, which is true. Excuse me, I got that backwards. This is going to take people less than 1, and which is true. 0 is less than 1, and it's going to say it's false. And this one is going to take 4 gallons less than 5. Well, yeah, that's true. And this is going to reverse that and say false. So we're going to end up with if false and false. And now we know that that's going to be false. So if we run this, you can't drive a car without a person in it. It has the exact same result that we had last time. So we basically just reversed everything, which ends up having no effect at all. Alright, so the last thing you need to know about is operator precedence. Just like with the mathematical operators, how multiplication gets performed before addition, the comparison operators get performed before the logical operators. So if you have an expression, if 5 is equal to 5 and 5, and then you have code to run, this is what's going to happen. This has a lower precedence, which means this is going to get executed first. And then 5 equals 5 is 1, because that's true. And 1 and 5, both of those are true, so this entire expression will be true, and the code will get executed. We could also do, if you need the AND one to be executed first, you have to put it in parentheses, just as you do with the mathematical expressions. And now it will execute this. 5 and 5 is equal to 1. They're both true. And 5 equals 1 is, of course, false. So just to show that this actually works, we'll print out just anything we want. And we're going to run this code and see what it does. It doesn't print out anything because this evaluates to false. If we remove these parentheses, though, it should print out true. excuse me, it should be true, and it will print out hey. There we go. So now you should have a basic understanding of the three logical operators, and, or, and not, how to use them, and how the precedence of those operators works. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and I hope to see you again next time.